I don't have a mark on my face, and my upset not enlisted, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. If God's with me, ain't no matter. He'll just be better. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I said, can I be a legend? Search your soul and answer me this question. Do you think I have what it takes to be great, but still be humble and learn from my mistakes? Shit.
I don't have a mark on my face, and my
He was on 7.
Good night, everyone, and welcome back to this Just In Your Favorite Sports Show. Sorry, tonight we don't have our typical guest, our typical host, Marsha Boyce. But who we do have is a very special guest, former Packers, Panthers, former Philadelphia Eagles, and Falcons player, and welcome my good friend Josh Hawkins. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
Just hot. I'm trying to survive COVID-19 like anyone else. So, Josh, let's get right into it. First, where are you and how is the pandemic in your state?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and everything is going smoothly. Everybody's abiding by the rules, and everybody's being safe. So everything's going smooth.
All right, well, let's get into the football side. Tell us, what is the process like for you looking for a new home, looking for basically a new job?
Well, it's just basically, you just wait around for the call from another team that's, possibly interested in you, and you just continue to keep working out and better in your craft until, you get that call. So you're ready when they call you. So you're ready to play right away.
I know you're probably not going to say, but are there teams currently looking at you for this 2020 season?
It's a few interested, so just be on the lookout.
Okay, in a couple weeks' time, hopefully. Then,
hopefully, God willing.
So you signed most recently before this with the Atlanta Falcons. Seeing their season kind of went south. 0-5, fired both head coach Dan Quinn and general manager Thomas Dimitroff. Considering that defense was their main problem, do you feel where that you didn't really make it to the final roster and defense was their main problem this season?
I mean, I felt like that I belonged, in that secondary, but those guys, they made their choice, and it is what it is. You just move on and continue to keep getting better, and hope for the best. So no hard feelings against those guys. I get it, it's business.
Before that, you had spent some time in the XFL, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Before then Atlanta picked you up. Was it a case that you were using the XFL as a means to get back into the league?
I think I was just enjoying the XFL. Honestly, I was just getting better every day in practice, during games, and I could see my craft increasing during the games. And my friends, families were like, "Man, they calling you one of the best corners in their league right now." And I was like, "Yeah, I can definitely tell it." My confidence was in a very high state. So that's what caused the NFL to call me back. Just continue to keep being better.
Part of that, you would have been in Atlanta's training camp, I guess, for a brief period.
Mm-hmm.
Touch on the COVID-19 protocols the teams have, because we are on the outside seeing a lot of people, or at least within the Patriots, the Tennessee Titans, testing positive. But what were the protocols like for you as a player? And did you feel comfortable with the protocols that were in?
They are definitely safe for us, safe for the staff, and safe for the whole organization. Honestly, so you would just come in every morning and just take a COVID test, and if you had monitors, beepers, and all that stuff to make sure everybody was um, safe, and if someone did have COVID and that person was around them, they would just have to be out for a couple of weeks. But just to be on the safe side, so the monitors was just in case if anybody triggered the alarm, then they would know about it and everything would get handled.
Were there strict, kind of restrictions as to what you could do, like on and off the facility?
Yeah, you can live your normal life. Just and I forgot to mention we wearing masks all the time throughout the building, on the field. Only time we not wearing masks, the players when they got their helmets on, and coaches they wearing masks too. So once you leave the building, you just follow the protocol, which is just wearing your mask and just trying to stay safe.
Okay, awesome. You came into the league through my Green Bay Packers, of course. So let's talk about that time. You went undrafted. Was it that your agent guided you towards Green Bay, knowing they had a history of bringing in undrafted free agents? Or was it a case that Green Bay was just a random selection for y'all?
Yeah, me and my agent we discussed that, and he had a coach there that he knew that'd be a good coach for me first coming out in the league, or my first time being in the NFL, and it happened to work out very well. I was being taught by Sam Shields, Clinton Dixon, going up against Aaron Rodgers every day, going up against Devontae Adams, which is probably one of my hardest receivers I've ever had to defend, along with Ridley. They just both were some shifty guys, so they just made me better. And going to Green Bay was definitely a blessing.
What makes Devontae Adams so hard? We see how he releases so quickly off the line, but for you personally, what makes Devontae Adams, in your estimation, a top 5 wide receiver in this league?
I feel like he's just a technician. Also, he has Aaron Rodgers, so that helps.
Well, we talked about it off camera. What was it like going against Aaron Rodgers every single week at practice? Was there a coming out moment? Was it difficult? Or, let's tell us about your time facing Aaron in practice.
He just he actually tries to get both sides of the ball better. So if he sees something while he behind the center, he'll let us know after practice, or shoot, even before practice. And I asked him, like, yo, why did you throw it this way when I was on top of this person? He was like, because he was in a good position, so I had to put the ball in a different location. So he helped on both ends.
Was there a personal story you can remember, like, my God, Aaron Rodgers just did that at practice, that you can recall from your time in Green Bay?
It was a time where he had threw a no look pass, but he was looking. It was like the running back had ran like a sort of kind of like a bubble route. He ran a bubble route, and he was looking at him, and I broke down like, oh, he about to throw it, and he looked at him, and he threw it behind me, and I was like, oh, snap. And everybody went crazy over it, and we just all started smiling. He started smiling. I was like, yeah, that's what Mahomes get it from, huh?
He didn't have any words to say to you, like, better luck next time, rookie?
Nah, he just winked at me, and we smiled, and I was like, hey, good throw. You got me.
Was there any pressure playing in Green Bay, because it is one of those historically rich franchises that, obviously, with Aaron Rodgers, looks to win every year? So was there pressure playing in Green Bay, knowing that the stakes are high almost every season?
Nah, it's no pressure. Shoot, the stakes high anywhere. You're trying to just put your best foot forward wherever you step in any organization. So,
can you tell us, or are there any differences between franchises? You've played for a number now. You've played in Green Bay, Philadelphia, and Carolina. Are there any market difference between the three franchises in your estimate?
Yeah, they all different. I would say the difference between all um NFL teams is probably just culture. Just where the organization is based. Um, so yeah.
All right, all right. So quickly, then
So
I know you
quickly, then
talked
I
to
know
me
you
about
talked to me
Devontae
about
Adams,
Devontae
but
Adams,
that's at
but
practice.
that's at practice.
On the actual field, though, Josh, who would you say was your hardest assignment you've had to face, and then who's the best wide receiver in the league during that span in your estimation? Again,
See, I never, had to play against Devontae Adams, but I feel like he's just, he's very shifty, a technician, and a great route runner. Just like Ridley, I got to go up against Ridley a couple of times in practice, and he's very savvy with his feet and very a good route runner also. But I feel like one of the top receivers in the NFL right now is Hopkins. I mean, his catch radius is just ridiculous. So
when like obviously none of us have ever played defensive back. When you're given an assignment like a DeAndre Hopkins, what are a couple of things as a defensive back? What's going through your mind? How do you play these guys?
mm, well, I'm pretty sure uh, a defensive back they come in into the game just thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna lock him up. He can't catch nothing. But you going against Hopkins, they gonna throw it to him. He gonna catch some. You just gotta put your best foot forward and just go out there and ball. Every snap you gotta go out there and ball because he a dog. And you just gotta look at film and know what he good at running, what he not good at running, and just know what they gonna try to throw at you.
Personally, let's say you're back in the league next week and you're facing Arizona Cardinals this Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
One play you're matched up with DeAndre. What are some of the things that you were look to do? What's the first thing that you'll be looking to do? As the ball breaks.
Mm. Oh, get a pick. Get a pick. That'll be nice. Set myself apart. A pick could definitely do it.
So I don't want to keep this just about football because you have some other aspirations I know about personally. And I know you have a couple of singles out there as well as a music video. Tell me about
Mhm.
your music aspirations, Josh.
I feel like music is just my escape. It's away from football, and I like to express myself within my music, and just I'm just a fan of music. One of my favorite artists is Drake. Also with Bryson Tiller, um, her, Janae Aiko, Summer. I mean, it's just I like that genre of music, that good ride music, that good vibe music. So.
Is it a situation where you were thinking about life after football that you started this music career, or is it just that you simply like music and you thought this is an avenue that I could always pursue, whether I'm playing football or not?
I feel like I could pursue it. I also thought about. I'm pretty sure I might get into a little bit of acting after my football career. I think that'd be pretty dope. And I got some real estate popping. I'm trying to get more of that. So we stacking.
Uh, Also, tell me about fashion. I know you have your Josh Hawkins lane, but there any other fashion interests that you're into right now?
Really, I'm not really into fashion too much. I just think I could just dress really well. Honestly, I, I ain't a big like, oh, let's go to this fashion show. I mean, if I get invited to a fashion show, I'll pull up, but I ain't really. Oh, I gotta have this type of shoe. I gotta have that. If I see something I like it, then I piece it together. I ain't gonna. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. We've seen basketballers, footballers, strut their stuff in and out of the locker room. Tell me about the locker room culture as it comes to fashion, because I know a lot of the times guys try and one up each other where it comes to clothing and jewelry. But like, what is it in the locker room when it comes to one upping guys with fashion?
Um, I feel like guys around the league they have their own style, they sense of swag. And I don't think nobody ever try to outdo nobody. It's just, their preference, what they want to wear, walking into the locker room, getting on the plane, feeling good about yourself. Um, so yeah.
Do you feel what we call as helmet syndrome? A lot of NBA players are easily identified by their faces, but with y'all, you wear helmets all the time. Do you get that feeling? I try to identify because I always have my mask on. Do you get that pressure?
No, I don't get that pressure at all.
Okay, awesome. So, last, I don't want to keep you too much longer, Josh. You have Beijing connections.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the connections here to Barbados, because a lot of people might not know that about you.
My grandmother, she's from there, based in St. Pete right now. And my uncle said when I think he's actually about to try to move back there and buy some land and build a house out there. And he said, if I wanted to, I can build a house out there too. That would just be nice to have a little beach house to go back to. So that'd be pretty cool. And we went out there a couple of years ago. That's how me and you linked up. It was dope. We was in the paper. Our first time in Barbados, we was in the Barbados paper. I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Thank you for that interview. Anytime, when are you looking to come back Barbados next, or is it a case that you're so busy with your music and NFL career right now?
We gonna definitely try to make something pop, because I got to get to one of these carnivals, man. So I'll probably visit Trinidad,
Well, yeah, this may not be the time to do that considering the pandemic.
Right.
But we'll definitely love to have you back anytime shortly. As I said, personally, dealing with the pandemic in your state, how's it been for you moving around and what you do?
I've been moving around real smooth. It's my dog in the background.
But, no worries.
I've been real smooth, keeping my mask on, trying to stay away from people, staying in my own personal space. And, of course, don't try to stay nowhere too long.
Well, I anticipate that you will be signed in the coming weeks. I would hope that you break that news right here, send us a clip so we can release that on This Just In and Breaking News. But we want to thank you for your time once again, Josh. It's been a pleasure having you on. We just want you to stay safe in North Carolina. And hopefully we have you back on the show for season 3 or in person, because we do live shows in Bubba's restaurant. So thank you again, Josh. And let's keep safe. And we'll be looking for you either week 6 or week 7.
Yes, sir. I can't wait.
All right, Josh. Y'all don't go anywhere. Just stick right here, because we'll be back in 30 seconds and we'll be talking about Neil's team.
I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Johnny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. If God's with me, ain't nobody here just the same. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I said, can I be a legend? Search your soul and answer me this question. Do you think I have what it takes to be great, but still be humble and learn from my mistakes?
I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Johnny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. If God's with me, ain't nobody here just the same. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I said, can I be a legend? Search your soul and answer me this question. Do you think I have what it takes to be great, but still be humble and learn from my mistakes?
I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Johnny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. If God's with me, ain't nobody here just the same. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I said, Can I be a legend? Search your soul and answer me this question. Do you think I have what it takes to be great, but still be humble and learn from my mistakes? Shit.
Welcome back, everyone. And look who is with us. That looks like Neil with a big birthday smile and more reasons to be happy. His Lakers won their 17th championship in LeBron's 17th season in the league. Oh my gosh, I should have expected that. Well, let's get right to it, Neil. I don't have to ask you how you're feeling, but what's your thought on this championship?
Well, first thing I want to say, I am a bit humbled that the Lakers would let me win a championship on my birthday. I can't see this ever happening again in NBA history. October 11th, 2020 is very special to me. But yeah, honestly, I think in all seriousness, I think that it showed me a lot, not only with what is happening in the bubble, but also to the Miami Heat. First, let me say to the Miami Heat fans out there, you have a special person in Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is that guy. He is that dog. He is a person that, and Justin and I had this conversation several times about him being a superstar or not. And while he may not be what you call a franchise player, it is not somebody who will go out for marketing purposes, but I can assure you that boy is a player. That is a man that can give you points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. He would give you his entire heart if he could. It's just unfortunate that he was really tired. He had to do shoulder a lot when it came to the injuries to Goran Dragic and Bam Adebayo and other injuries that he would have that were out there. He even himself was dealing with a little something there. So it was unfortunate that the Miami Heat had injuries and he had to shoulder so much load on him. But that man is a champion in my heart. He is really, really good, and I really hope he ends his career in Miami. We have talked about in this space about potential suitors for the Miami Heat to help bolster their team and make them a bit bigger and better. I do think they do need size down low to contend with some of these big teams out east and even west. But the Los Angeles Lakers, I think this is a very unique championship. Obviously, as I said, they won it on my birthday yesterday, but also to the conditions with which they won it, right? I firmly believe that the level of sacrifice and the focus that all the teams would have had to make it into the bubble and have their playoff runs, but for the Lakers to kind of get together and focus on the job and getting the job done is nothing short of special. I really want to talk about LeBron James and his greatness. A lot of people hating on him. I personally think that at this point, you can't say anything negative about his career on the court. I think he's a really, really good player. He is a player that will go down. And, we've talked about it again in this space. He would be in a lot of people's top 5, maybe even in a lot of people's top 3. But LeBron James has shown that wherever he goes, he will lead his team to a championship. The numbers back it up, the eye test back it up, the metrics back it up. I mean, the man shot 59% in this finals, 40% from 3. That's insanity. I can't say anything about it. I'm just grateful that now we're 17 championships tied with the Boston Celtics. And I'm just really grateful that, we were able to get that dub.
All right. Tuning in. I'm sorry you just missed NFL defensive back Josh Hawkins, but you can get the interview again. Just stay on this space, rewatch the episode. It will be there, up and loaded. So yes, Neil, you touched on it briefly. Can a case be made for LeBron James being the greatest of all time?
Greatest of all time. I think so. I was having conversation with this obviously the entire week, right? Well, even longer because everybody knew he was getting to the final. He was in the finals against Miami, a number 5 seed out of the East, and a lot of people knew. Well, it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to win his 4th NBA title, and It was if he was going to get the fourth Finals MVP. But I do think a case can be made for him to be the greatest of all time. I don't know if he'll be successful in that because I think with Kareem's dominance at every level in basketball period, as well as his dominance professionally, his longevity, and what he did off the court. Michael Jordan, he revolutionized how players get played and are visible, and get shoe deals and certain sponsorship. He took the game. He is often credited as being part of the reason why the game is as global and international as it is now. So obviously he had a stellar career, and he did some things both regular season and in the postseason that is phenomenal. LeBron James, however, I think he may not have the championships of Michael. He has done something that Michael hasn't done, which is win wherever he goes. Which is, he's gone to 3 teams now, and he's produced championships and Finals MVP. I think that career could. I think you can look at him as a hybrid of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Jordan. As they always say, if they were to have a baby, to me, he has the longevity of Kareem, as well as the social awareness off the court and on the court to have a message for minorities and for situations happening in the US and abroad. But also too, he has the as Justin and I always joke in the gifts from the father that Michael Jordan had in terms of being 6'9", 6'8", 250, 260 pounds, can run like the wind, can jump like a jackrabbit, and he has the stats. He's done some incredible things too in his career. The block against Iguodala, his various dunks, his chase down block. No, he's added a bit of a 3-point shot to his repertoire, even though it can be inconsistent at times, ill-advised. But I think LeBron James is a top 5 player of all time. I think that he definitely is the greatest small forward to have ever played the game. And, when you consider that at the end of his career, he could be top 10 in all major statistical categories like points, rebounds, and assists. I think that is phenomenal in terms of total. I think that is already he is in the top. I think he's in top 10 in assists and points, and also top 20 or 25 in rebounds. I can't remember. But the fact of the matter is, he is a workhorse. He produces. He may not be clutch, or he may not be what people consider as clutch and take the last shot or whatever, but he makes the plays and he gets his teams in positions to win. And, he's dominant. He's a dominant force. He takes over games. So, yeah, I for sure think that this is another feather in his cap to make the argument for being the greatest or the greatest.
I'm going to go further than you, Neil. Of recent note, and you're going to laugh when I say this, asking me what has come over me. No. I'm trying to get away from these greatest of all time debates. So what I will say, though, for a fact, well, not a fact, this is opinion. There's no doubt in my mind that LeBron James is a top 3 player of all time. I don't think this title really did anything to change that. That was always the case. But for me, as I said before in a different space, it kind of eliminates any doubt that people had before. So a lot of people said, well, he enjoyed the weaker conference in the East. So, well, he comes out West. And within his second year, and it was only that he was injured in year 1. His second year in LA now, he's won a title. And not just won a title, but he destroyed the West. Like, he had a grand total of 3 playoff losses in that Western Conference. People will say, well, he didn't face the Clippers. But again, that's not his fault. He would have, beaten the team that beat the Clippers, and it's not his fault. The Clippers would have blown 3 successive double-digit leads and a 3-1 series advantage to Denver. So I'm not sure, any doubts about LeBron being one of the top 3 players. And for me, as you know, it starts Kareem, Mike, and LeBron. When you have, 4 titles now, 4 MVPs, 4 finals MVPs, and now you have won a 3rd title with a 3rd different franchise. I don't think that there's any question, because when you can sit down and say certain situations like He may need a coach. Well, this is the third different coach he's won a title with. Or he needed a particular superstar. Well, it's the third different second banana he's won with. He's won with Dwayne Wade. He's won with Kyrie Irving. He's won with Anthony Davis. And none of these three players are the same. And sorry, I'm ranting a bit, but there's one trope I need to get out of the way. You would have seen Game 5 like the rest of us, and that last Lakers possession in particular, when a lot of people who, I mean, in your mind, if you question LeBron James, you really must not like him, are just looking for a reason to have something bad to say about LeBron James.
A very personal level.
Yeah, it can't be basketball. I've heard the trope that LeBron James is not clutch, one, and two, he does not like taking the last shot because of failure to miss. I don't want to come here and dispel both those notions quite quickly with, as you know, Neil, I need to bring facts. Fact number one, LeBron James, in terms of, if you want to question clutchness, he has the highest winning percentage in elimination games. I think at something above 70%. He has the highest point per game average in those elimination / closeout games at about 30, I believe. But second and most importantly of all, LeBron James, for as many as people have questioned, him not taking last shots, here's the thing that you may not even know, Neil, yourself. LeBron James has 7 playoff game winners, which is more than both Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And I'm just not going to throw out the number 7 and leave it, unqualified, because people may say that's making up the number 7. We're going to go through them right here, right now, Neil. All 7.
I love it.
His first playoff series ever, his career, NBA career, came against Washington. I know you may have forgotten that. In that Washington series...
No, I didn't. No, I did not. And it was the crab dribble.
There we go. In that Washington series alone, he has 2 playoff game winners. One, notably, where you talk about the crab dribble, where he tightropes that baseline and layups at the front of the ring, finishing game 1. He has 2 playoff game winners in that first round series against Washington in 2006. The Eastern Conference Finals, in which he lost to the Orlando Magic. Game 2, he has a catch and shoot straight away 3 from the top of the arc. Wins game 2. So that's 3 game winners. I think it's an Eastern Conference semifinal series against Chicago when he returns to Cleveland after the Miami stint. He has a corner 3 over Jimmy Butler as time expires. It's the same series in which Derrick Rose had that game winner and the look on his face.
Yeah.
The very next game, he hits that corner 3 over Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
To square the series when David Blatt infamously has him to inbound the ball and he refused. So we're up to 4, right?
Right.
Before that, he has against Indiana, Paul George's Indiana Pacers. Game 1, Paul George closes out too hard on the wrong side. LeBron James catches, blows by him, and has a left-handed layup to win game 1 at the buzzer. That's 5 game winners. Then in his last season in Cleveland, the second time around, Neil, he has 2 more game winners. A lot of people may not remember. First round series against the Indiana Pacers again. He catches a ball at the top of the arc left, cans a game-winning 3 as time expires. And most famously and most recently against the Toronto Raptors, the Eastern Conference semifinals last series against Toronto, catches going to his left, not catches, he's full head of steam, going coast to coast, goes to his left and banks a one-handed runner off the glass over OG Anunoby as time expires to beat Toronto there again. And if my memory serves me correct and my good mathematics that I got at CXC grade 1. That is
Oh, you're
7.
showing off now. You're showing off now.
Yeah,
You're just
I'm
showing.
showing up. That's 7 playoff game winners. And if you want to say LeBron does not want to miss last-second shots, then I dare you to find Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or any other player for that matter with more playoff game winners than he does.
But
So
Justin, I don't want to cross you, right? But I just want to address that point about him not being clutch. To me, LeBron James is the type of player that, so Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, they have made a career of taking last-second shots in big moments. And, that is obviously when the game is on the line, you're within a 1-possession or 2-possession game, and you either hit the bucket to give you the lead, to tie the game, or to extend the lead, the little lead that you have. LeBron James, to me, is the type of player that in the course of the game will do his all to ensure that they're not in those moments.
yes,
Right? He's going to play, he's going to be aggressive and going to the ring. He will make the pass, get the rebound. A lot of people may think it's self-serving, but regardless, at the end of the day, he is going to put his team in the best position to win going into the clutch.
I'm glad you used those words. Now, part of the problem with this one, we've seen Michael Jordan in the 90s, and then his clone, Kobe Bryant, right after him. And because a lot of us believe, and not wrongfully so, that Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, he won games this way, that anyone who calls himself the greatest of all time or anyone close to him has to win games this way.
Yep.
And I also want to dispel that trope quite quickly. There are different ways to do something. 3 and 6 is 9. 7 and 2 is 9. 1 and 8 is 9.
That's that grade 1
math. That's that grade 1 math once again. I say all that to say Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's greatest trait is that they are scorers. They are score first, that's what they are. And there's no problem with that. What a lot of people don't seem to realize is that LeBron James's greatest attribute is not his scoring. It's really actually his passing. And if he chooses to win a game by passing to a wide open Danny Green, and he was wide open, metrics said the closest defender to him was 8 feet at the time he took the shot. Not even at the time of the catch. By the time he took the shot, closest defender, which was probably Andre Iguodala, closing up, is 8 feet away.
Yep.
LeBron James driving into a rim, in which he did the entire of Game 5. We saw him bullying his way to the front of the rim. Yep. Gets 5 players, as we saw in the graphic, collapse on him. Mm-hmm. The best way for him, in his estimation, and mine as well, to close out a game is to find a well-known three-point shooter wide open behind the arc. I see no problem with that play. LeBron obviously saw no problem with it. And quite frankly, if you have a problem with that play, then I'm going to say here you should not be watching or commenting on basketball. Like point blank. Sorry. I think that you should give up your watching basketball days.
Oh, do you give it up altogether?
Let's give it up. Go and play Dungeons and Dragons. Go sit down and play Call of Duty. But watching basketball is not for you if you have a problem with a man tossing out to a wide open three-point shooter. And I mean, hell, as much as Jordan was a maniacal scorer, he has also hit John Paxson, Steve Kerr for game-winning shots in the playoffs, no less. So I am beyond that trope. I just wanted to get in that monologue quite quickly before we touch on other things. But yes, 4 titles now, 4 finals MVPs, 4 regular season MVPs, all-time leader in points in playoffs, all-time leader in terms of games played in games won, second all-time in assists in playoffs, third all-time in regular season scoring, I think 7th or 8th in all-time regular season assists. Yeah, this is an easy case to be made that this man is the greatest player of all time, and at worst, third behind Kareem and Mike. At the very, 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 very worst.
At the very worst. Agreed. Completely agreed.
So 2 quick things then, Neil, before we go on to any other segment. One, in our always too early predictions for the next season, Do you have your Lakers repeating and eating? And if not, then if so, who are the biggest odds-on challengers to stop your Lakers from back-to-back championships?
So the same thing I said this when we did our live show a couple of weeks ago, right? I think that while they do have the pieces to win a championship again, I don't know if it's a foregone conclusion. Yes, Vegas has the bookmakers give them the biggest odds to repeat next season, but I think that you and I disagreed on this a couple of weeks ago with regards to the bubble situation and it being a conducive venue to focus on basketball and get the job done. But I think that when teams go back to normal, fans are in arenas and you have to do the grind of the travel and home games, away games, 3 and 5, back to backs, that kind of thing. I wonder if they will still maintain that focus. Then you have to look at what changes will be made to the roster, because even though we did win the championship, I still do have some very glaring questions. For example, Danny Green was horribly ineffective. Kyle Kuzma sometimes look very
I like
don't
you to
know.
say name that a three-time champion, Danny Green, and one of only 4 players to have won a championship with 3 different teams. Obviously, joining LeBron James. I bet you can't name the other 2.
The other one that with 3 different teams, Robert Ory and John Sally.
Neil, you ain't forgetting the.
Listen, I am not on this show just to look pretty, son.
So yes, continue. Don't let me cross you. Go ahead. Let me cross you. Go ahead.
Right. So, I gotta look at Danny Green. I have to look at Kyle Kuzma. No, we wanted a third banana in Kyle Kuzma, but it turned out to be Contavious Caldwell-Pope, which I'm grateful for. He's incredible in the playoffs and he was incredible in the finals, hitting threes when he was asked to do it. Outside of that too, I would have a bit more questions when it comes to our defense, our perimeter defense especially, and just having. Well, I know Avery Bradley is still there, and he's obviously going to bolster that, and we still have playoff Rondo.
Boy, I will tell you, Rajon Rondo was a revelation for you in that bubble. You do not win that title without him.
I want you to
It is a
admit on
myth.
this.
There's no such thing as playoff Rondo. I
There
refuse.
is such thing.
No such thing as playoff Rondo, but he was fantastic in the bubble, particularly last night in that closeout game. I'm not sure if a lot of people get this reference, but I was in the chat. I was asking, did Rondo hit a door? Was he on crack last night? My word, I have not seen Rajon Rondo like that since 2010, 2011. Wow.
Yeah.
To the point where, as you said, LeBron James and Anthony Davis are what they are, but your next best players were easily Contavious Caldwell-Pope and Rajon Rondo in some order.
Easily. And to me, that's a concern for me because at the end of the day, Rajon Rondo, he is getting older. And I think that we are going to need a backup point guard or a reserve point guard that is a bit younger and can be mentored by Rajon Rondo. I think
is there any? Do you think that there's any scenarios? Because a lot of people forget Anthony Davis is a free agent. Do you see any scenarios where Anthony Davis does not resign, Neil?
So, I don't know. I mean, he was asked that question last night, obviously, and his response was, he doesn't know. Basically, he is going to weigh his options. He enjoyed his time in LA. He enjoyed his time around LeBron James and the other guys, Frank Vogel, Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, the city of LA, and just the camaraderie that they've forged. Now, does he sign? I would say the reason what got it here. No, here's a hot tip for you. He doesn't. I believe if he doesn't sign, he will not sign because of what LeBron did to take the Finals MVP from him in this series. Because as we all know, this boy was playing like a madman in the last. He was playing
First two
against the
games.
Rockets, but hold on, against the Rockets, against Denver. I mean, granted, he didn't get a lot of rebounds, but he was eating everybody in front of him. And then in the first two games, particularly game two, when he had 30 points in the third quarter, up until the fourth, when LeBron James told him, "Son, this is my Finals MVP and not yours." You saw him. I saw exactly. I saw his body language at the end of the game. He looked kind of discouraged, despondent. And LeBron James went to talk to him. What was said, we don't know. I could only assume it was like, stay ready. We can come to you. But I really feel it was, keep cool, young man. You have years to go. This is not yours. But if he doesn't sign, I think that is going to point to that. It will always be LeBron James' team. Somebody I saw online also said that he could sign for 2 years plus one, sign an extension, and get the supermax when all is said and done, to kind of coincide with LeBron James' contract and see what he does. No, LeBron James may very well retire or leave the Lakers come that time when his contract is up. So Anthony Davis may just want to play that out and see what he does and make that decision then. I do believe he stays though at the end of the day. And yeah, just keep on building and see how many you could get. Now, the original question you asked me was, do I think they can win? Can they repeat? And the second part of your question was, who do I think could kind of oust them?
Yeah, derail that.
Right. Let's start. Golden State Warriors coming back. We don't know how they're going to come back or what they're going to look like coming back, but we know that they have Steph Curry, they have Klay Thompson, and they have Draymond Green with Steve Kerr's coach. So,
and they've added Andrew Wiggins.
And I forgot that they've added Andrew Wiggins, who, even though he cannot spell rebound, even if it was written on a chalkboard in front of him, and the board was there,
or assist.
Or assist. However, he's a scorer, and he has shown very brief glimpses of being that true killer. I don't know if that can be developed, but it is to see what Golden State could become when they come back, whenever the season starts. You have Los Angeles,
and they have that second overall pick that they can dangle still at their disposal, whether they use it to trade for another star or just pick up a piece.
Like as Giannis Antetokounmpo, right?
Not trying to hear that, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, you have the Dallas Mavericks. Even though they're not title ready, I do think that they are going to be a tough out in the playoffs. Luka Doncic is amazing. They have a great owner. You have Kristaps Porzingis. He's playing really well too. And you have the LA Clippers. The LA Clippers, even though Paul George I don't know what's going on with him in terms of his production in the postseason, but he is a very good player. And just to see what's going to happen with their coaching and any other pieces that they add to kind of make them a bigger team. The Houston Rockets are always going to be very dangerous. You have the Jazz, where you had what's his name, Mitchell,
Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert.
Mitchell, right? Donovan Mitchell, like Rudy Gobert, looked really well in his in the first round series against the Nuggets. Then the Nuggets, you have Jamal Murray and Jokic. Nikola Jokic, and then Michael Porter Jr. Oh my goodness, he was incredible. So I mean, and that's just in the West. That is just in the West. We gotta look now to see what's gonna happen out East, where you have teams like the same Miami Heat, the same Giannis Antetokounmpo on the Bucks if he decides to stay, the same oh my goodness, Boston Celtics. Sorry, Marsha.
Marsha's Boston Celtics.
Yes, I don't know how that slipped my mind, but they do have a young core and a young nucleus, and they're very dangerous and very hungry. So I mean, any one of those teams could derail their plans and get into a second championship or even to the finals. It's just a wait and see what happens. Just to see how steel themselves mentally to be up to the task for next season. And
you're being very humble here, Neil. So I'll put on the Laker fan here for you.
You want to borrow greatness?
No, thanks. Love Kobe Bryant and all, but you keep that over there. I'll say that Lakers should start as heavy favorites because, especially if they get back to a situation where you're returning to home arenas, because the Lakers did indeed have home court advantage out west, which was then only derailed by the pandemic, where then everyone was playing in neutral facilities in the bubble in Orlando, Florida. So I know you and I differ on this opinion. I think the bubble actually was a detriment to the Lakers more so than it helped, because it took away their home court advantage that they fought so heavily for. And I thought the bubble showed that it favored young players. Like we saw each and every round. Donovan Mitchell had 250-point games in the opening series against Denver. Jamal Murray looked like the best player in the entire world in that series. Luka Doncic by himself without Kristaps Porzingis for most of that first round series against the Clippers, pushed the Clippers to 6 games where Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, two elite defenders, couldn't mark him. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both averaged over 20 points for Boston throughout the playoffs. So I think that the bubble kind of did help younger players. So I think if they return to gyms, their home gymnasiums next season, I think Lakers should again start as heavy favorites once LeBron returns to this level of LeBron. I don't know when Father Time will inevitably catch up to him, but it hasn't seemed so far. So I have to go.
He got money. I guess he got some money for Father Time, because I can't. Money, you're 17, I'm balling out, so I don't know.
I was looking at Pro Football. No, there's this site I watch a lot, and it graded the top 10 players of the 2020 season. And again, they had LeBron James at number 1 in year 17. Go figure. But as I was saying, Neil, you don't know what the Clippers are going to look like next season. There are a lot of rumors suggesting that there is a package for Paul George going to Brooklyn, centered around Karis LeVert. I would say that I am one, in as much as you mortgage your entire future on Paul George, I would indeed ship him out, only because the entire locker room has seemingly soured against the man. So it's nice and good to say, well, I've given up all my assets for him. But if you're a locker room, and if it's a locker room that you intend to return for the most part, then you have to get rid of Paul George. So I don't know what the Clippers will look like next season.
Right.
I think Denver is still too young to contend with LA. Jamal Murray, if this is Jamal Murray that we're going to see going forward, and I highly doubt it, because he's never been this level of consistent before in his career. He's never been an all-star, so I don't see how that is going to be the Jamal Murray that we see. I think this is the Nikola Jokic we will see going forward. So I think Jamal Murray still has some time to improve. Michael Porter Jr. is not there as yet, but he will be eventually. So Denver is probably about 2 years away from contending. You know my dark horse pick for 2022, but it's not 2022 yet. But Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis will eventually get there, but they're still too young. But 2022, look out for Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Boston, as I said before in our live on location show, their 3 best players are not playmakers, that being Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker. And that being important because, as we saw with Miami zone, that caused problems because the ball's in their hands, but they are not natural passers. So until one of them improves to become a good enough playmaker, or they add a good playmaker to the roster, they're still one piece away in my estimation. As is Miami, they're still a superstar away. I know you want to say Giannis Antetokounmpo will end up there, and I think that's the piece that's missing. Toronto is also a superstar away from contending. So I have to say Lakers have to start as heavy odds-on favorites for the 2020-2021. Well, sorry, that's the 2021 season, because I can't see basketball starting anytime before January next year. So yeah,
Yeah, they deserve their respect.
yeah. So put some respect on LeBron James's name.
Yeah.
Quickly in 1 minute, sum up the bubble experience for me, Neil. 1 minute.
Pure. Pure. And if I can do some cheating, pure basketball. Everybody was focused on basketball. We've heard from multiple sources. That it was a shooter's gym. It was an AAU kind of format. Everybody in one central location. Really and truly, no real distractions of family and other things like Magic City and their wings. I think that
Daniel Ed.
I mean, something about Magic City. But anyhow, I do think that it was pure basketball, and I think we did see the two best teams in the NBA within the confines of just basketball make it to the finals, and ultimately we saw the best team win. Um, I wish, honestly speaking, that the NBA could find a way to carry over this type of format going forward. But obviously, money has to be made, and arenas aren't cheap. People need jobs, so I don't know how that's gonna go. But it was fun to watch. It was fun watching daytime games, watching games from like 1:30 until like 11. It was fun just seeing pure basketball from players like your Devin Booker and that team going unbeaten in the bubble, fighting really hard for that playoff spot. We saw some great play from some guards in the West, Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell. It was just great. It was pure, fantastic basketball to me.
For me, I'd say it was a job well done from Adam Silver to the league office, right down to the players. Kudos to everyone involved for pulling it off. Um, Not a single positive test was found in all the testing done over, I think, what it was, 3 months, Neil.
Yep.
I think it was just given the circumstances that they found themselves in, I think the NBA needs a great commendation. I don't even know what words to use. Like, you just can't say enough the great job that the NBA did with the bubble, making sure to get the games on. Uh, there is no stoppage outside of the kind of player protest, the 2-day player protest against the shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Other than that, there were no breaks for positive tests. There was no outbreak. It was just pure basketball, as you said, and the league has to be given every single commendation, praise possible for just pulling off a job well done, making sure that the season finished and that we were able to crown the champions. So, well done, Adam Silver. Well done, NBA.
Yep.
And on that note, Neil, I think this is a great transition as we spend our last 5 minutes on the show.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing how the NBA was able to contain the virus, not even contain, but just successfully finish their season in a bubble-like environment. But now we're seeing the flip side with the NFL, with so many postponements and rearrangements and rescheduling.
Yeah.
Do you think that the league will finish in light of what we have seen, especially with the Tennessee Titans coronavirus outbreak? Do you think the league will finish this season?
So I remember we talked about this on our live on location in Bubba's, right? A couple of weeks ago, and I was saying I think you had made a hot take about the Kansas City Chiefs going undefeated, and I was like, yeah, this season is going to finish because, yeah, the owners love money, and people love money. All of the stakeholders, as you know, that perfect word, people just love money. However, I think with the Tennessee Titans and their outbreak, I think the league will consider something like what the NBA did by having a bubble situation or a situation where some teams don't make it because of their statistical
Ooh.
season.
So you think that at some point this season they're going to cut the number of teams to make sure to finish? Ooh,
Yes.
that is a hot
I think
take.
that is right.
You should have saved that one.
Oh, you're there. You never know. I might come up with something. Yeah, I wasn't thinking. But yeah, I think that because the NFL needs the Super Bowl and the playoffs to happen, and they need certain teams to be in to be aired, to play, to watch, to happen. I think that you may see some teams that are not typically expected to get to the playoffs kind of cut, and they have like as again I said, a bubble situation or some type of restriction with the amount of teams going on into the second half, or the last third of the season. So you can look out for that.
I'm going to go a step further and say, no, the season won't finish. I agree with you that the owners love money. I mean, who doesn't love money? But I think it's going to become, like, unless you put, as you correctly said, some sort of, and here's that term, biosecure environment in place. I do not know. Yeah, we haven't really, that was our key phrase for early in season one. But unless you bring some type of biosecure environment, kind of like what the NBA did and the NHL, I don't see how you are going to finish the season, especially as, I think that's why I particularly asked Josh in the first half of this episode, what were the restrictions like, what were the protocols? And I'm not sure if you picked up, Neil, they had no protocols in place for when players leave the facility. And if you're not doing that, Neil, I don't see how you are going to be able to successfully contain the spread of this virus. It's just going to be too much. It's just too much rescheduling already. And there are too many players getting ill. And we've seen already people like Cam Newton contracting the disease. Also, Stephon Gilmore. And we kind of look at in New England Patriots as a model franchise. So if that's happening in New England Patriots, we see where we saw a situation where the Tennessee Titans clearly broke the NFL protocol by staging a practice outside of his facility, and then that happened. Neil, like, if you don't have strict protocols in place for these players when they leave actual playing facilities or practice facilities, we've seen that players will do whatever players want to do. Then I don't see the season finishing. And it is past our time, Neil, so it is really time to wrap up. We don't have Marshall Boyce here to keep us to strict deadlines.
Yeah,
so
we miss you,
we really do miss you. So hopefully you are back next week. And hopefully you, the viewers, are back next week with us. But you don't have to miss us for an entire week. As Marshall would like to tell you, as she always does tell you, we are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on Twitter. Right here on YouTube. So make sure to follow, to subscribe, to like, to turn on post notifications. Whether you want to tell Neil he's talking trash or you want to agree with me as you usually do, we are on a lot of social media platforms to do that. So for me, Justin Marvel, that is
the Neil Hoyt.
And this is This Just In. See you in this same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you for tuning in.
All right, good night, everybody.
I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Sonny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I told the world, I talk to God every day. If God's with me, ain't no matter, he'll just the same. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I said, can I be a legend? Search your soul and answer me this question. Do you think I have what it takes to be great, but still be humble and learn from my mistakes? Shit.